Welcome, everyone, to the Everyday Experts podcast. I am your host, Bobby, and I am joined by my co host, Heidi. Hello, Heidi.
Hello.
We are also joined today by Heather Hartmann. She is our specialist today on exercising and working out and the benefits of doing so. And I will let her introduce herself to all of you.
Thanks, Bobby and Heidi. It's great to see you.
Yeah.
It's just funny whenever I hear anyone describe me as a expert in exercising and working out because that was not the case a long time ago. But so Bobby knows and Heidi knows actually, I am a CrossFit coach at CrossFit Regeneration. I've been coaching there for over 5 years. I have my level 2 certificate, so I've increased my education in CrossFit and coaching. And I've, done a plethora of other things from triathlons to marathon. There's no plural in that. There will never be a plural in that. And yeah, and I work out consistently. So CrossFit is kind of my bread and butter, but I coach that 3 days a week over at the gym.
You said there will never be another marathon?
No.
Why?
Well, for many
Do
reasons.
you know how many miles those are?
Yeah, mostly
Oh,
it's the
I
26
don't even.
it's the 26.2 miles that I would have to run again, and it's actually like a 6-month training period,
Mm.
and you run I was getting up to every week I'd increase by 2 miles, and so I was getting up to 18, 20,
Gracious.
22-mile runs leading up to it. So, I could eat an entire bag of Cheetos in a day and have no repercussions.
Well, hey, it fits right into the Cheeto Mountain Dew diet.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
I'll have to learn more about
You
that.
will. You'll have
You'll
to
have
listen
to
to
refer to episode
episode
1.
2 of the
Oh,
podcast. Yeah,
two.
with
Two.
Dr. Zach
Sorry.
Littlefield. Yeah, I had a foray into long distance running a while back. My wife and I ran a half marathon at Disney World, and I kind of share a similar experience. I probably won't do one again because well, we were running in Florida. That kind of gave me a little PTSD
Mm.
about running a half marathon, but like once you hit, and I guess it's all relative because you were running 26.2. We only had to do a paltry 13.1. But,
Poultry.
when you hit like the 10-mile mark, you're just like, I want to chop my feet off. They are in so much pain right now, and I don't like this. And it's muggy, it's Florida, and I don't think I ever want to do this again. So I completely understand where
Meanwhile,
she's coming
I,
from.
I get it. I'm just over here proud of myself for hitting 2 miles on my elliptical in the morning.
Yeah, girl, get it.
But I digress.
Well,
I
yeah,
just
multiply that by 13, and you're
Well, Bobby was
golden.
like, I want to cut my feet off at 10. And I was like, I still had like
oh,
16 more miles to go at 10.
Well, that's why I said it was relative. Yeah,
oh
yeah,
my
proportionally, that's
goodness.
like at mile 20 for you.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's wild to
But
me.
I love that you admit that because, all the choices aren't for everyone, right? We all have
Yes,
our own.
exactly. And I think you said it. So CrossFit, a lot of people hear CrossFit and they're like, oh no, I need to be fit before I join a CrossFit gym, which is not true. But I also understand that CrossFit's for everyone, but not everyone is for CrossFit, and that's okay. And so I always tell people, even if they come in and try it, or even if I'm talking to them about exercise, all you gotta do is find something that you love and you enjoy doing. So
Mm.
there was a period in my life where I was like, I want to run more and I want to do this and I want to see if I can accomplish a marathon. So let me try that. Did it. It was a great experience in a lot of ways. Never want to do it again. It's not going to get me out of bed in the morning. But CrossFit, going into the gym every day, working out every day, doing those type of high intensity functional movements, I just love it. So some people it's Zumba, some people it's Orange Theory, some people just love going to Planet Fitness and working out for an hour and a half, doing body weight workouts, and that's totally cool. I just think you need to find that thing that you love and you're passionate about. That is the most important.
Yeah, we'll get a little bit more into the specific exercises that could be best for different people and what those benefits are. But I wanted to touch on something you said earlier about how exercising wasn't always part of your life. How did you go from, I assume, based on that comment, being a less active individual to now being a CrossFit coach? What was that fitness journey like for you?
Mm, it was a journey. It was a journey. No, so in high school, I played sports. I was in soccer and I loved that. And I was very active. And then I ended up tearing my ACL, totally obliterated
Oh
it.
gosh.
Yes, yeah. Came down from jumping up for the ball and just it. it went away. So, ever since then, it was really hard to gain back any of the athleticism that I had. I lost a lot of progress in sport, and I still tried and still pushed, but just sat on the bench a lot, didn't play a lot, and then come college, well, I wasn't on a team, and I had to choose to go to the gym, and I just kind of fallen out of, being healthy and being fit. And, as a high schooler, you could play soccer and then go home and eat a bowl of ice cream and everything was fine.
Back when you had a
Like when you have
metabolism.
a
Yeah.
metabolism, but when you get a little older, especially a woman, everything just slow down real fast. So I got to or college, and I just kind of stopped working out. And I mean, the story was like freshman 15, like I definitely gained a lot of weight, and I just ate a lot. I loved food. I still love food. And I mean, I remember my dad even voicing concern over just the habits that he saw that I had and indulging. And I was like, it's fine. Thankfully, like I studied abroad, I walked a lot. That saved me from getting even worse. But by the time I left college and moved to Louisville, Kentucky, I was at a pretty unhealthy weight for my size. And I remember going to the doctor down here, and she told me that I needed to lose weight. She was like, it'd be a really good idea for you to kind of put some weight off. And that was a wake up call. Like, here is a medical licensed professional telling me, "Hmm, you might need to drop a few pounds." And I wasn't shocked by it, but I was like, okay, something needs to be
It's
done.
still hard to hear.
Mhm.
It is still hard to hear, and it was something that I think I had been denying a lot of, because it's like, I mean, I remember going out on college campus and running a mile, and it was so hard, and I just didn't want to do it. Tried the Jillian Michael workouts in my dorm room, was okay, but yes, it was very hard to hear, but it was a really good thing. It kicked me into gear. So that on top of the media company where I work, they had a Fitbit challenge. And I was like, okay, like I'll get this Fitbit and I'll just like start walking. And so it was like, hit 10,000 steps a day.
Mhm.
And I remember like my dad joined me from where he works in Michigan, and I was competing with my coworkers. And that just like got me moving for the first time in a really long time. And then, maybe a month or 2 after that, I found and joined a CrossFit gym through a string of events. Showed up at the gym for work for my media company. The owner was like, "If you're gonna write about CrossFit, you should do CrossFit." And I was like, "You're right." So he sold me very easily. Yeah.
That
And
was the whole pitch.
that was the whole pitch.
"You're gonna write about this, you should do it."
I don't know, I
"Well,
was
alright,
like,
let's do it."
he has a great point because I'd never heard of this thing. So I was like, I'll try it and I'll do a month of it, and then my in my head I was like, I'll learn all the movements and then I'll go to the park and do them all in the park for free. So that was my whole plan. So yeah, right?
Suckers.
No, I'm the sucker. But a month in, I remember doing modified push-ups, so push-ups from your knees. We do not call them girl push-ups. We call them modified push-ups because men can do them too. But I
Bobby.
remember doing modified push-ups in a puddle of my own sweat with my coach like yelling at me, but in an encouraging way, and just wondering why the heck was I doing this? And then for some reason I stayed. And here I am over 8 years later, and
Wow.
it was through just, consistency and showing up every day and getting into nutrition, all these different things that I've seen a complete transformation of my body composition, of my lifestyle. I can do things now that I've never done. I mean, that was one reason why I did the marathon. Never, ever thought I'd be able to do that, and I reached a fitness level where I was like, I think I could do this. So it's been a wild ride, but it's just funny when people say, "Oh, like you're a fitness expert." I'm like, "Oh man, you should see me back in college. I didn't do any fitness. I went to the cafeteria, I got late night." You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So yeah, it's been a wild ride.
Well, I mean, everybody had to start somewhere, and yours is a cool journey because you started as an athlete in high school, right? Being active a lot, but, when you had a metabolism, kinda like what Heidi was joking
Yeah.
about.
It's so funny because it's true.
Yeah, well,
So I'm sure like different exercises have different benefits and whatever your concern area is, you would need to choose a different type. What do you recommend to people for figuring out what's best for them?
Yeah, so I think the first and most important thing is something we already talked about, which is finding something that you love to do and you're gonna actually show up and do. Because if you don't like it, you're not gonna keep doing it. Like,
Mhm.
I think we all know that about ourselves.
Right.
So I think that's the first and most important part. I do believe that there is great benefit to doing a wide variety of movements, a wide variety of things from strength training to
Mhm.
cardio-based training. That is what CrossFit is. It's a variety of movements at high intensity, and they're all functional. So I always suggest, especially for women, to build muscle, which I know a lot of women are like, "I don't wanna bulk up." Honey, it's so hard for us to bulk up. So hard. Sorry, Heidi, I'm not calling you honey, I'm just calling the
It's
general
all good.
woman who's voicing at me. But,
I wish you could have seen her face when Heather just said that. That was great. It's like,
I'm
"Oh,
trying to come back with a
yeah.
comeback, and I'm
Oh,
like,
oh,
nah."
honey, listen.
honey,
Oh, you listen."
yeah, just like, whatever. But so I think
What,
it's
this is not bulked up?
you bulky, I love it, I love it. No, but I think it's important to build that muscle, build that strength, especially as we get into later periods of life when your body starts to deteriorate, because it happens. So I think strength training is important, building muscle as well as cardio. I mean, we walk on a daily basis. You play with your kids, you play with your pets, you go on trips. You want to have energy to walk around, I don't know, New York City all day or
Mm,
Louisville, Kentucky, and all the bourbon tours that you're going to do in a day. But so I do think it's important to well around your fitness. And then, I mean, you can even get into things like stretching and yoga, I think is so beneficial. So i- it's a hard question to answer because I'm like, it's all really good because a lot of it can really be uh, dialed down into just how it helps you functionally live even
Mhm.
better than you're living now. So find what you're passionate for and then go from there, I think.
So let's kind of break down the benefits that you saw from doing your marathon, for example, and then doing CrossFit now, which you have continued to do, and that's been your consistent kind of baseline exercising all the time. But those are two extremely different types of exercising. One of them is extremely cardio focused almost exclusively. The other one is about, building muscle, right? It's all about like, movement, etc. Well, I guess they're all about movement. Anyway,
One's
um,
maybe long form
sure, yeah.
exercise and one's maybe a little more shorter.
Or it's like, yeah, shorter, like higher bursts of energy
Mhm.
in,
Yep.
yeah, in CrossFit. So yeah, walk us through just some of the differences in how each of those types of exercises affected your body and the benefits that came from each one.
Yeah, for sure, that's a great question. So with CrossFit, I've just seen a complete change in, like I said before, just how my body composition is, which means I've just built a lot more muscle. I have about 75 pounds of muscle on my body. I weigh about like 165, which interestingly is about what I weighed when I started CrossFit. So my body's just changed and built more muscle. So it's just increased my strength. CrossFit's increased my stamina to there was a time when I had vacation with friends and I was able to climb up a 200-step lighthouse and really didn't get out of breath, you know? So there's step ups and increase my stamina and those things, has allowed me to hike long distances. So CrossFit has a lot of benefits. I've seen a lot of changes in my own body from that. Definitely a lot of muscle building. When I did the marathon, I'd say I lost muscle. I kept doing CrossFit actually paired with my marathon training. So I actually probably ran less than a lot of marathon trainers do, but I worked on increasing my strength while I trained in my marathon. I leaned out even more while marathon training, which it was just kind of crazy. Just the way my body personally loves cardio, loves long distance, just like trudging cardio. It just like sheds fat. It's incredible. So, like I said earlier, like I just remember after one training day running like 18 miles, I think I had like a large blizzard, a whole thing of Cheetos, like it was just insane amount of calories. Nothing happened to me. Like it burned all off in like 3 hours and I was hungry again. So, yeah, it was really interesting watching what it did to my body versus CrossFit. It's like I have a much tighter eating plan and on the marathon it was like, well, after I run this long, I need to just eat as much as I can.
Yeah.
mhm. So, with the benefits, talking about that, what about, like, have you noticed a difference with your sleep or just your general
Your
stamina?
ability to
You said
rest?
stamina, but your energy throughout the day, that kinda thing, have you noticed a
Okay.
difference?
Yeah, I have. Like, I sleep a lot better. It used to be harder for me to just fall asleep, and with CrossFit, especially, so I work out at least 4 times a week, then maybe throw something else in there, but it's 4 times a week in class, and I sleep really well. Like, I'm out I might wake up, like, once early in the morning, but I feel well rested usually when I wake up. And I do feel like I have energy throughout the day. Usually my workout, it gives you some endorphins, gives you a little boost. So that's always really helpful. And I really can tell when I'm going with people, whether it's like during a vacation day or out doing activity, like I have a lot of energy on those things. And I think even furthermore with benefits, like I have gained more confidence because of CrossFit. I know someone once said to me at the gym, they were like, I can tell there's a difference in just the way you walk and hold yourself.
Mm,
Because I'm more confident. It's just like I've done really hard stuff at the gym and I hold myself different. So I've seen a confidence change and that. I mean, coaching has helped my public speaking. It's not really a problem. So you have to stand in front of people and tell them what to do. But so there's been a lot of different things as well in those respects. It's not, I think that was a great question, Heidi. Like it's not just physical.
mhm.
There's sleep benefits to working out and exercising. There's confidence benefits. There's just even the general mood, how you feel about
Yeah, your mental
yourself,
health,
your
yeah.
mental health. I mean, there's so many days where like I go to the gym just to like de-stress or just to, let some anger out by throwing some weights down, and it's so helpful. So yeah, there are so many benefits. We could probably talk about those for hours.
Well, we talked about consistency too, so what do you feel really counts as, consistently working out? Do you recommend a certain amount of time per workout or a pace for your heart rate or a number of days? Like, what counts as consistency?
Yeah, and I think you probably look up like a national whatever, says 30 minutes a day. What's the NFL 60 minutes a day play thing? Do you know what I'm talking
Mm,
Yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
know
like
s
get
yes.
out, get the kids doing stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think I've heard something like, oh, what is it? It's like 3 days of what is it, like, strenuous 20-minute workouts or,
something
like,
like that.
4 or 5 days of, like, 30 minutes of lighter workouts.
Yeah.
It's something about, like,
Like, yeah.
a correlation of time and, like, effort you're putting into
Yeah.
those exercises.
Yeah, and so they have science like that. At the same time, I've come to realize like every single person is different. Like everyone
Mhm.
has a different body type, everyone has a different energy level,
mm,
everyone has a different lifestyle. Like the consistency for a mom of 5 is going to be look way different than a single guy in his 40s, who is making $1 million a year. Like it's just going to look way different. And so I guess maybe they could be both really busy because he could be making $1 million because he's really busy. But you know
We
what I mean.
we don't have to
Like
give a backstory to the
and
example
his
you
name
just made. Yeah.
is
He
and
we're
he
all
has a
secretly judging this millionaire.
like, "Why do you have
And
a
then
million
Right.
some people
dollars?"
are
Yeah.
like, "Who is this
His
millionaire?"
father was noticeably absent. His mother was always there for him, but
Sorry, too much detail. But all to say, it's different for everyone. And so I think if you're especially starting your journey, it's getting yourself at least to the gym first, okay? That's your first thing that you wanna be consistent at,
Mhm.
even if it's driving to the gym, walking inside, and leaving right away. I've heard a guy who lost 100 pounds doing that once. Like, not and he started working out after a
Right.
while, but that's how he got started. But oftentimes people who come into the CrossFit gym for the first time, I'll tell them 3 days a week. Start with 3, come Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Come if you're sore, we'll stretch you out, we'll work you out. Just move. So I'll tell them 3 days a week to start. Then we'll be like, well, maybe you can move up to 4, maybe you can do 5. But I think it should be varied. And I think you need to listen to your body. There are some weeks where 4 days are great for me. There are some weeks where I could do 5 or I should only do 3, just depending on what my body's saying. So I think that's the most important part is listening to what is your body telling you? Can it move today? Can it move with intensity? Or is it like a hey, walk a mile or 2 today. It's a great workout. Just
Mm.
move. So definitely different for everybody. And I hope that's not a cop out answer.
No.
I'm just
Mm-mm.
like God, sometimes those scientific studies, they're just not I don't think they don't take into account all the different people in the world.
Yeah, 'cause I know there are some assumptions you can make about the human body, but you're absolutely right. Everybody's body composition is drastically different. You know, I probably weigh more than people think I do, and it's because of how I'm built. I'm definitely out of shape, but, like, I think I've, like, told people what I weigh before, and they'll be like, "Wait, really?" Not that it's like, "Oh, man, I thought you were so super in shape," but, like, people carry weight differently, and there have been people who
Mhm.
look bigger than me, but they weigh less than I do.
Yeah.
You know, like, that you just never know what you're gonna get with people, and so the exercise for one person might not be as effective for what would be effective for me. I was into running for a long, long time, and I'll still, pick it up from time to time. But I've kind of transitioned from that more into basketball being my consistent workout, and those. It's funny how different those types of workouts even are because you might think, oh, they're basically the same, right? Like you run around a track, you run up and down a basketball court, but like the hard, cutting and the
Mhm.
stopping, the jumping, and, you're a little more, like, crouched down. You should be when you're playing defense in basketball. Kids, if you're listening, a good defensive stance, you're always, knees slightly bent,
Yes,
and
Coach Bobby.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's my other side gig aside from
There
this
you go.
podcast. The exercises are way, way different, and, at the height of my, running abilities, I could consistently do like 3-mile runs. But if I tried to do one of those like beach body workouts or like any like strength training type thing, I would be miserable. My core strength is atrocious. And I've built up pretty good cardio over the years, but even with basketball and running and just playing games or sports with friends in general, that still doesn't change, areas of my body that I do need to target specifically if I want to make
Mm.
them better. And the core has always been one of them. So like that is a completely different set of circumstances than you,
Mhm.
Heather, or
Yeah.
you, Heidi. Like everybody is different, and that's what kind of makes it exciting, but also a little scary because you can look and go, "Oh, well, this worked great for Heidi," and then you try it, and you're like, "Oh crap, I
Yeah.
uh, I don't feel any different, or I feel miserable, or I hurt myself, or whatever." So when you're trying to just get started, when you're trying to just walk into the gym, what would you tell people when they're about to start doing that? Like, if they're about to start their workout journey, whatever their goals are, whatever, how do they do it? How do they get started?
First off, well done. Well done for wanting to start. Well done for even taking your health into consideration and putting it on as a priority. I think that is something that we need to applaud and probably applaud more of. So great job. And I think second, it's making it a habit. I know that's what really helped me. Is it's figuring out, okay, when can I do this and when will I prioritize this? Because a lot of times, people say I'll go to the gym, but they don't set a specific time. And it's like, that and the time goes away and then it's 9 o'clock at night and they're like, "Oh, I need to go to bed?" So I think it's making it a habit, finding a time that works for you, and then treating it as a priority, treating it as a priority for self-care, not only for your own well-being, but for the well-being of those around you, whether it's those you work with, your spouse, your kids, your neighbor next door. I don't know, but a lot of people are going to benefit if you go and work out in a lot of different ways. So I think it's creating a habit and making it a priority are the first couple of really important steps to getting started in your journey and realizing that you need to even safeguard that time in a lot of ways and you need to let people know like, hey, this is going to be something that's really important to me and I need you to respect that. I know that's really helped me establish a routine with my job and my work and going and working out. So yeah, that's what I always recommend to people is when they start coming in, it's like, hey, like commit to a few days a week, like make sure you come in. I mean, that's why it's great to choose a class at a gym. Like if you go to a CrossFit gym, choose a class that you're gonna find, friends in, and getting accountability buddy is amazing. Again, whether it's someone you already know or someone you meet at the gym, that's why I go to the gym and work out as hard as I do because I have an accountability partner. I have someone who works out with me and we sweat together, we just get after it together.
Well, and it's more fun together
So
anyway.
much more
Yeah.
fun. It
Mhm.
is. And, we can just be like, "Oh, we just suffered in that workout," or, I'm like, "Oh, I'm really struggling with eating all the Christmas cookies this time of year." And I think, like, that's it too, is, habit prioritizing and finding an accountability partner are all really key things when you get started on your health journey.
Are those things that can help with that intimidation that can come with, walking into a gym? I guess that's what it's most closely associated with, those big gyms, and you got the treadmills, you got the people in shape, and it's intimidating, especially if you haven't been in that world before. Are the things we just talked about, are those some of the ways that you can kind of combat the intimidation?
Yeah, I think so. I think having a friend, having a buddy is really helpful to go into a gym together. I think too, having the mindset that no one started where they are now. Like
Mm,
we've all worked
yeah.
to a certain point. So if you see that really fit person on a treadmill, be like, they might not have been like that 10 years ago. They might not have been like that 3 months ago. You don't know. And so I think it's even putting on blinders in a lot of ways of not comparing and not looking at other people in the gym and realizing that everyone's on their own journey, and that's really important. So I think because it's hard because you're even to think through like, oh, what would cause the least amount of intimidation, but ironically gyms have been trying to do that for years and people are still intimidated to go to the gym. And so I think, honestly, what you as a person who's looking to exercise have control of is your own mindset, right? You can't decide if the people that are at the gym are fitter than you or not. Like, who's ever going to be at the gym is going to be at the gym. So you have to choose whether or not you're going to let that deter you from going. Like, it's a mindset thing. And I know it's easier said than done. You have to like really probably work on that mindset, but I do think that's a huge thing in the intimidation factor is just realizing everyone's been there.
Yeah.
Come on, man, everyone's been there. Like, just get after it already.
Yeah, like everybody's body is different and what's fit for you may not be fit for me. There's a lot of stigma or misconceptions out there, especially with media and the magazine ads and we
Setting unrealistic
way
Right.
expectations. Yeah,
unrealistic. There's
yeah,
Photoshop,
those
like it's
people
yeah,
don't even
crazy.
look like that. That's
No.
not
yeah.
those people. So it's really just getting past your own insecurities and it's so ironic to me. I don't know if that's the right word in this situation, but like you had said before, getting healthy and exercising improves your self-esteem, but it's just like getting in there to do it. Like your self-esteem is so poor sometimes it's so hard to even
Mhm.
have the confidence to go do that.
Yeah.
So then, like start at home or start,
Yes.
little baby steps.
Mhm. Yeah, buy some weights online. Order them to your house. There's DVDs out there. There's so many YouTube trainers, but that's a great point too, Heidi. Like start at home if you can't make yourself go to the gym yet. Just drive to the gym parking lot, sit there, and then leave. But at least you're going? So, but yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Setting those baby goals and like, baby steps and checking them off and feeling that sense of accomplishment
Mhm.
to build up to it would be good, I would imagine.
Well, are there any pitfalls or red flags that that you think people should be aware of when they're starting to work out? Because I know that one thing that came to my mind was like getting hurt, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, that's an inherent risk, with doing any physical activity. But obviously,
Or
there are
walking
things.
down the stairs, like I
Yes,
said.
well, I mean, or driving, right? Like,
Waking up in the morning or
yes,
Rolling
yeah.
out of bed, pulling
How
something.
did you hurt
Yep.
yeah,
yourself? I woke up.
yeah. I took the last step wrong.
I get what you're saying. Like, how do you know the difference between I'm sore from yesterday's workout or I'm injured and I should take a
Mhm.
break? What do people need to look for? What are their warning signs?
Yeah, for sure. I think one, recognizing when did it happen is always
Hmm.
helpful. Did it happen while you were moving? You felt something, a pull, whatever. Usually that's an injury. Again, I'm not a doctor. Don't take everything I say for word, but this is just what I've experienced. But
We
usually
already
that's
put you as Dr. Heather Hartman in the title of the episode.
I but, I typically it happens while you're moving, you kinda can feel that something has gone wrong in your body, right? Often too, injuries tend to hurt more and more as you move. So if there's an injury and you start moving and it hurts more and more as you do that, it's probably not soreness. Soreness tends to work itself out, tends to kind of loosen up as you get warm. And so that's just something I've recognized even in my own training is like, oh, that's definitely an injury. So if you do find that, you're hurting, I think whether it's soreness or injury, take it easy. Like your body is responding that way for a reason. And even if it's soreness, okay, well, maybe if your legs feel like cement blocks, don't do leg stuff that day. Like that literally happened to me this week. Got to Wednesday, it was more squats, and I was like, my legs are just spent. What else can I do so I'm not unable to walk to the podcast recording on Thursday?
So
So
glad you thought ahead
We
that way.
thank you for
Appreciate
that
that.
I didn't
decision.
walk here, I totally drove. Um, but just thinking through too, like, have a long-term mindset, have a longevity mindset, whether it's soreness or injury. If something hurts, don't push it. If you hurt your calf running, maybe don't run. Maybe go for a bike ride. Maybe do some arm lifting weight stuff. Wow, that was not correct at all. But you know what I mean.
Tell us more, Coach
I'm
Hartman,
literally doing bicep curls as I'm sitting here, but you guys
about
can't see
arm
that. The
lifty
arm
weight
lifting
thingies.
weight
Yeah,
weight thingies.
lifty arm weights.
No,
We
I
would
like that. Giving don't throw it all out the window. Choose something else that you
Mhm.
could
Yes.
do so that you don't lose that habit.
Yeah, so I always tell my athletes and any of the coaches at our gym tell people like, "Hey, if you've been injured, like, of course, if you have a serious injury, like, go get it checked out, go to the doctor." And we tell people, "But come back so you can move." So we've had a member, she broke her wrist in what is it, ATV
ATV, yeah.
ATV accident, and she
Mm.
came back in, and for months she had, like, a cast on, but she found so many other things to do, and we would modify everything for her, and she's the strongest now that she's ever been. And then we had another athlete, and he ended up, like, tearing his bicep, and, he came back, after the surgery and, like, was working on, like, ab stuff, was working on, leg strength, and so we always tell people, like, "Hey, if you've had an injury like that, still come back in, 'cause or still continue moving, like, so you can keep some progress and you don't become stagnant." And I say that with soreness too. The cure for soreness is to do what you've been doing.
Yeah.
So, of course, there's a too far extent for that. Like on Wednesday, I was like, nope, not gonna do squats anymore. But I think moving really helps, even if you're sore.
Yeah, I've heard the expression, "motion is lotion." I always liked that one.
Heard that.
Yeah, one of our friends, she went through PT school, and that was one of the things that she told my wife when, yeah, she hurt something, and our friend was like, "Hey, motion is lotion. Don't just sit still," you know, even when you're injured, which is the temptation.
Yes.
You usually wanna just take it easy, let it heal, but like you said, there are always ways you can just get up and go move.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, and they've done a lot more research now to show, like, just even the way physical therapy has changed, that things just need to keep moving,
yeah,
to healthy degrees, but, I mean, if things stay stagnant for too long, then there's, like, buildup in your system. I don't know all the scientific terms, but there's buildup in your system, and it becomes harder and harder to move stuff. Like, that's why you have people who've injured their shoulder, and they can't raise their arm above their head because 'cause they've spent so little time moving it, and they have to, like, slowly break it open again and
Frozen shoulder.
kill off all that junk
Mm.
that's in there, so
Let's talk about some of the people who are struggling to get into the gym a little bit more. So, let's say I'm wanting to start working out. So, there's two paths I could take. First, let's focus on your path. So, if I really were going to do that, what would it look like to alleviate some of those fears? Like, do I walk in not knowing? Do I call ahead? How does that work with your business?
mm. Yeah, it also probably depends on, your generation because there's a younger generation that does not wanna call anybody, so,
Mm.
yeah, what do you
um,
mean call?
Well, in the ideal
what is
situation,
that?
what would you
Yes.
recommend?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably helpful to come in and see the space.
Maybe take a tour.
maybe take a tour. So I know at my gym, we do tours. People come in,
So day 1, they don't have to work
they
out.
do not have to work out. They
No, not
come
committing to
in,
anything.
they take a
Okay.
tour. Usually our owner takes them on the tour, gives them some more information. They'll meet the coach who's ever coaching during that hour. And then next step is often a one-on-one class where they're taught like the 9 foundational movements of CrossFit.
Mhm.
And after that, then they're like slowly integrated into group classes. And we have pretty small class sizes. So it's just like a small group setting that they're introduced to. And there's a lot of different places that do stuff like that where you get a sort of intro and you're not just expected to show up and know what's going on in
Mhm.
class. So don't think that. Don't think that. But and you need to trust too that your trainers are there for you. Like I know at our gym, like we just want people to live healthier lives. That's all we want. We want you to be able to pick up your grandkids. We want you to be able to go hike Machu Picchu. We want you to be able to just walk around the city and have a good time. So, yeah, I think it's getting in there and getting and just seeing what it looks like and getting a tour of the space, and maybe that will help.
And they can come in with no level of experience. They can come
None.
in with
Hmm. Zero.
couch potato for the past.
Couch
Okay.
potato.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, you do not and it's funny because a lot of people think CrossFit, "Oh, you have to be fit." I mean, literally people have told
It's
me
intimidating.
yeah, they're like, "I
Yeah.
have to work out before I come to CrossFit." You do not. It's a beginner, absolute beginner. That's why you have a coach. That's why you have someone working you through it, modifying things for you, helping
Mhm.
you start, teaching you how to move properly. So you're not just at some big box gym doing stuff that you're like, how do I do this? And then you get hurt.
Mhm.
So yeah, so it's definitely like no fitness experience required. Like we got you.
Okay, and then the other path that I was, alluding to are the ones who just aren't going to have the courage to go into a public place. So if they're at home trying to figure out a plan, I know there's like a ton of apps, there's tons of YouTube videos they can obviously use, but are there any programs that you've ever seen that would be very helpful for them to set goals and keep track of how they're doing? What would you recommend they use to help them motivate themselves?
Yeah, I mean, you could start how I started and just get a Fitbit and start walking.
Mm.
I mean, that was a great entry level personally for me because all I had to do was hit 10,000 steps a day. And that got me moving because I just sat around a lot. So I think something as simple as that, taking your Apple Watch or your Fitbit or whatever tracking device you have,
Pedometer. I threw a whole
pedometer.
bunch of dead pedometers away the other I was like, "I have an Apple Watch. Why am I hanging on to these
Yes.
pedometers with no battery?"
Oh,
But yeah, I
man.
think even just, setting a goal for how many steps you want to achieve that day, how many miles you want to
Mhm.
walk. I think that's a great place to start. Little harder if it's, cold outside, but I do think that's a great maybe first step, especially if you're coming just off the couch and you're trying to move.
Mhm.
In terms of like at home things, you're right, there are so many. And I think it all depends on what you want to do. I know I did Jillian Michaels DVDs in college. I would still do them I'll still do them sometimes when I go home for the holidays up in Michigan. Yeah, every now and then, a little Jillian Michaels get going on. So I recommend her just because 'cause I've done her DVDs, even though she can be pretty intense. So, but yeah, I think just starting with walking and setting some goals with that. What do you want to achieve? And I think asking yourself, where do you want to go from here? And what do you hope to do in 3 months? For me, like, it might be a trip. I wanna train for this. So, I don't know if that really answers your question. I don't have any specific apps or programs because I mean, I work out in a gym,
Mhm.
and the
Yeah.
only other thing I did before was either not work out or Jillian Michaels DVDs.
Well, it does sound like something that helps, and I think some gyms are kinda doing this too, is, what's the like, gamify working out, and that kinda helped me when, gosh, 5 or 6 years ago, Becca got me a Fitbit, and I was at easily my unhealthiest I've ever been in my entire life, and it's kinda like what you were describing. Just that motivation to beat my high score or, like, win the game, walk 10,000 steps just got me up and moving more. So I think if you can find something that almost makes fitness fun, not to, like, give this impression that, like, fitness is always gonna be fun, it'll never be hard, but, if there's to me, again, basketball is, like, a big motivator for me because I just love playing a game, and basketball is a sport I've loved for, I mean, like, my whole life, and so I just love to get out there and play. I'm not that good, but it lets me run around, and so finding something like that that makes exercising more enjoyable sounds like the most effective strategy, and it's kinda like what you said before, find something you love, something that will
Yeah.
get you out of the house and you're
Mhm.
motivated to do.
Yeah, I really think that's the key is finding something that you enjoy, finding something that's fun. I mean, like you said, it's not always gonna be fun. CrossFit is definitely not always fun. There's some really hard days and some hard workouts, but I enjoy it, and that's why I keep showing up, and I think that is really key, is finding something you love. I've heard people who love the Nike running app. I've heard people who do that zombie running app. You
Mm,
guys know what I'm talking about? You,
I've
like
heard of
Mhm.
it,
yeah, you, like, do a zombie storyline and you, like,
yeah, yeah.
run. Yeah, it's really
Hmm,
interesting. Some people love Pound, which is those drumsticks and you hit stuff. Some
yeah,
people love the
yeah.
trampoline classes. So, there's so many options out there.
Oh, Becca has done a bar class.
Yes. Oh, man, that
Dancing type stuff?
yeah, the booty
Yeah,
burns on that one. You should try it.
I will not.
It's very interesting.
I'm good.
But yes, I think the key is find something that's fun. And if it's gamifying it, that's just
Whatever
gotta
works
start.
for
Yeah,
you.
whatever works for you. So,
So I did wanna ask, I've noticed, because 'cause we've been talking a lot about how every body, not everybody, but literally the 2 words, every body is different. And it actually seems to me like a lot of the fitness industry has kind of been moving in this direction as well, kind of trying to push that narrative a little more, and I guess cast a wider net to be able to bring in more people and be able to remove a little bit of the intimidation and let people feel comfortable with, I mean, it sounds sappy, but comfortable with who they are, coming to the gym, wherever they are on their fitness journey. How have you seen that evident in the industry as you've been working out yourself, but also as a CrossFit coach, being entrenched
mhm.
in that world?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, really the pandemic changed a lot of things. It
Mm,
changed a lot of people's mindset on fitness, which I think was really positive. Like I've seen more people join gyms or pursue an active lifestyle because of that. People from all walks of life, all body types. And interestingly, the gym industry itself, they have started this movement of wanting to get after the other 80%. So about 20% of people, I believe this is a national statistic, but 20% of people are members of a gym. And that's crazy when you think about it. Like there's 80% of people who are members of gym and may or may not work out. And so they've been really trying to push like how can we have a more inclusive environment? How can we be for all types of people and not
mhm.
just like those fitness maniacs. And so, yeah, I have seen that. It's been really interesting. And I mean, CrossFit itself has really tried to open the doors to inclusivity as well and include different body types. But yeah, so it's been interesting, an interesting evolution and seeing other people coming in, not just fit people. Like our gym, I would say we're the average Joe gym. Like that's literally like what we're called around town is the average Joe gym, where we just are like a bunch of average people who just want to work out and have a healthy lifestyle. But you'll find all kinds of people in our gym, all body types and all backgrounds. It's just crazy to see. And but it's been cool to see like what the pandemic has done in that
Right.
sense. There's one positive from the pandemic.
Mhm.
People are working out more. So yeah. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
Well, it was more like I just was curious about your thoughts on it because it's
those are my
something,
thoughts.
yeah, it's something I had observed, over
There
the
you
Yeah,
last few
go.
yeah.
years. So, yeah, I think that's cool because yeah, there is so much of that intimidation for most people going to the gym, and I like it when they start to try to appeal, more to the masses instead of saying like, oh,
The
you,
little niche.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're buff, you want to get more buff, come to our gym. That's
Yeah.
such a small
Yeah.
percentage of people.
Well, yeah, and you can see that now with gyms offering recovery services, with
Mm.
massages, repercussive therapy. from cryotherapy to the salt chamber things, and
What?
the salt
Salt
chambers.
Salt
chambers, you haven't heard of
chamber?
the
We
salt
have one in
chambers?
Louisville, you guys should go try it.
Do you have one at your
And
gym?
we do not. We are not that fancy.
There's a few around.
Huh.
Yeah, like, go sit in this the room of,
Salt?
salt. Yeah, salts, yeah. Like Himalayan salt, like, it's like salt walls, and it, like, opens up
Oh, not like
your
Morton salt.
no. I can see why
Just
you're
peppered
I
on
can
the
see why you're confused.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Little
we
different.
drown you in salt. But no, it, opens up, like, airways and stuff. I don't know all the details, but yeah. But
Yeah.
there's lots of different options because gyms
Saunas,
Sa
different things they have set up.
Yep, saunas, all these different things because gyms are realizing, "Oh, it's not just about physical fitness, it's about wellness, it's about
Mhm.
mental health,"
Yeah.
like, and that's what these things do as well.
There's
So
more 24-hour access type gyms now too, I think, than there were
yes, there are.
before.
Yeah, there is a recent company that I came across that they basically are opening small, fully equipped studios where you can, book a place for an hour. There's no one there, like a trainer or anything.
Hmm.
You book like a little pod for an hour and you just have access. You can go in and use it and then you can leave. But it's
That's
like,
cool.
yeah, like it's like 1,000 square feet spaces with like
Yeah.
5 pods.
That's
Hmm.
neat.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. Yeah, kinda pushing the idea that, like, you can work out by yourself. You don't necessarily
Mhm.
need a trainer.
Yeah.
But I also, I guess, appreciate what you've been talking about, the idea of needing an accountability partner, because for some people, it is really difficult to, like, just get yourself up and go work out and go do something you know is gonna be really challenging. It is helpful to have somebody, as you described earlier, like,
Mhm.
yelling at you while you're, doing push-ups in a pool of your own sweat. That's motivating for some people.
Yeah, but my partner doesn't yell at me now. We
Okay,
just
good.
work out. Yeah. I'm like, "Don't yell at me. I'll just."
Don't yell at me.
Well, because in the middle of a workout, you just have like high aggression
Sure.
because you're just working lifting weights. You're like, "Don't yell at me. I'm gonna punch
Oh,
you."
I get snarky whenever I'm like
Yeah, I
yeah.
know.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, it was interesting because I feel like it was just a little while ago, but my workout partner, she was out of town, and I went in to work out at 11:30, and I was like, "You know what? I'm not gonna have a good workout."
no, no.
Yeah, so I left, and I went back later to work out with a class because I was like, "I need people to work out with to actually have good workouts." So, yes, it's very helpful to have people there.
But again, everybody is different, you know? Like, that's what you needed, and,
Mhm.
what you need might not be what Heidi needs to work
Don't
out.
yell at me
It
either,
might not
though.
be yeah. Ever. Don't yell at Heidi ever.
Ever.
Yeah,
No.
in any situation. We very much, though, appreciate you being with us today, Heather, and sharing your expertise. No matter how much you try to convince us that you are not an expert, you very clearly are. And
I
with
just think it's funny that people consider that now because I wish you would have seen who I was.
oh, well, but that's the thing, though. Everybody started somewhere.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
nobody was born an expert in something, and so it's really neat to see, the way your fitness journey has evolved and where it has taken you to this point. And so we appreciate you sharing that journey and expertise with us. It's been a great talk.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This was fun. So,
Yeah, of
go
course.
work out.
Yeah, don't tell me what to do. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening. If you know an everyday expert that you think we should talk to, leave a comment below or send a message to the email address in the description. If you're an expert yourself, we want to talk to you too. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram to get more awesome content and updates on future episodes. See you next time!